going on Jerome's undisclosed location raw real rant. So I been watching back some of the Greasy Graham Green Bay Packer game, and even though as frustrating as it is, you got to take it all in, because we Vikings fans, we are masochists. Pain is intriguing to us. But the whole thing with the Packers, as well as the Lions game, as well as the Bengals game, is that it wasn't so much, hey, maybe Brian Flores has lost his fastball. Hey, maybe teams are catching up with the scheme. It ain't all that. And especially in the Lions game, especially the Packers game, where the Vikings just got their asses kicked stopping the run, it just comes down to one-on-one, hat on a hat. Can you beat your guy? And the Vikings defense and the defensive line, I mean, they try hard, but the Vikings seriously have to upgrade the D-line. And our guy Harrison Phillips has been playing his ass off all year, or last 2 years, but we keep saying this ad nauseum. He can't play nose tackle. Like, put him at 3 tech, put him at 4 tech, put him at 5 tech, put him at something like that. But the Vikings need size on the inside, because honestly, just sick and tired over the last 2 years of having the Vikings defensive line just getting pushed back and having the line of scrimmage reset every single time. And it's frustrating, and you're not going to be able to win when you do that in this league, or hell, any league. It's just like college football, just like high school football, whoever dominates the trenches is going to win. And what's astounding is that the Vikings haven't spent a first or second round draft pick on a defensive lineman since 2013. Sharif Floyd. What could have been, man? It could have been. So the Vikings need to get back to having the meats. And throughout the years, we've champed at the bit. Oh, the Vikings should trade for Chris Jones. Oh, the Vikings should trade for Jeffrey Simmons. Or, oh, the Vikings should pick up Derek Brown. Do it. Because I feel like we're spoiled throughout team history. The Purple People Eaters, and then the Williams Wall. And yes, I mean, a lot of Vikings fans, myself included, were like, hey, let's try something different after going from the Zimmer era. And the Vikings had never run a 3-4 in team history. Well, actually, not even then. The Vikings have traditionally been a 4-man front, but the whole thing about a 3-man front, it's predicated upon having a nose tackle that you cannot move. The Chris Jenkins of the world, the Vince Wilforks of the world, that you need a guy who's going to two-gap and hold up and take up multiple offensive linemen. The Vikings don't have that. They haven't had that over the last 2 years. And also they refuse to play Kairos Tonga for whatever reason. So the Vikings need to double and triple and quadruple down, get back to having the meats. They do need a guy like Chris Jenkins, the second out of Michigan. They do need a guy like my boy Tavondre Sweat, Byron Murphy the second, as well as looking really damn good. They can also use him as a running back, or refrigerator Perry style. But the Vikings, that's what they need to do. And yes, quarterback is important. Yes, cornerback is important, but and also taking care of the edge rushers and the pass. But basically, it starts and ends in the middle. Can you build up a defensive line? Can we get back to having the meats? Can we get back to Vicmodium AD? Can we get back to where we're not allowing opposing offenses to have 4, 5, 6, 7 yards per carry and setting up easy second and third downs? No. Got to fix things, and I feel like that's where it starts and ends, man. The Vikings need to stop. For so many years, it's like, oh, Spielman ignores the offensive line, even though Darisaw was a first-round pick, O'Neal was a first-round pick, Bradbury was a first-round pick, Ed Ingram was a second-round pick, Ezra Cleveland was a second-round pick, but I digress. But the Vikings need to shore things up, whether it's making a play. Hey, who's going to be a free agent? Derek Brown. Would love to have him, or sinking significant draft capital up front. You got to have some dogs. You got to have some dudes who not only are able to stop the run and absorb bodies and allow Ivan Pace Jr. and the linebackers to scrape free, but also guys that can get their own pass rush. I mean, the pass rush this year has been Danielle Hunter and everyone else. Right. And yes, it's nice getting pressure with Metellus and Pace when you blitz, but getting 4 is the ultimate competitive advantage on defense. And the Vikings weren't able to do it this year. They got to be able to do it moving forward, and also just having some size up front and stop getting pushed around. I mean, that's what it comes down to, because, with the Packers game, they weren't reinventing the wheel either side, and Flores' scheme didn't get figured out, but what it came down to was execution. And the Vikings defense, the front 7, just got moved. And it's so demoralizing. So, got to rebuild up front, do it up. But that's it. You know what to do. Skull, no production value.